The Biden administration came out with what seemed like a very popular program, which would require airlines to provide refunds automatically. And it appears that you and three other lawmakers have come back and said, no, actually, the airline should keep the cash and you should have to get on the phone to get the refund. Why do you think this?
Well, Andrew, I got to say, this is one of the silliest stories I have ever seen.
Is it Senator Cruz? Because last week, Ted Cruz went on CNBC and tried to defend himself after a report by The Lever, wonderful publication, you should be subscribed to it, revealed that he and other lawmakers who have been captured by the airline industry were basically looking to thwart the Biden administration's crackdown on airlines refusing to give you a refund when they screw you over. Okay, but thanks to pressure from The Lever's excellent reporting, as well as bipartisan pressure from Senators Elizabeth Warren and Republican Josh Hawley, the airline industry isn't going to get their way. And I love to see it. These types of stories, I gotta be honest, super rare. But this is overall really, really good news. So in case you missed how this story developed, let's just refresh everyone's memory and also tell you the story for the first time if you missed it. So a few weeks ago, the Department of Transportation announced that they were implementing a new rule pertaining to the airline industry and refunds that you are entitled to. So you would automatically, under this new rule, get refunded if you booked a domestic flight that ended up being delayed by 3 hours or longer. The international flights that are delayed for 6 hours or longer would also get an automatic refund. That also applies to tickets that you purchase directly from airline companies or through third parties like Travelocity or Orbitz and things like that. You would also get an automatic refund if your bag was lost or unable to be retrieved for more than 12 hours. Guys, like, listen, obviously, when there's room to be critical of the Biden administration, we're critical of the Biden administration. But when they do something good like this, they deserve credit. And this is excellent because previously you wouldn't get an automatic a refund. You'd have to fight for it. And the airline companies would offer you a billion other things so you avoid getting a refund, right? Oh, we'll give you a voucher. It's nonsense.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
Now, all of this sounds pretty nice, right? Well, it didn't to members of the Senate Commerce Committee. In February, the Senate Commerce Committee passed a Federal Aviation Administration reauthorization bill. But in January, the US Department of Transportation reached out to lawmakers in the Senate and let this Senate committee overseeing aviation policy know, hey, we're gonna implement this new rule so people get automatic refunds. Make sure you include that in the legislation. But the senators were unwilling to do it. The Lever covered it, and we actually covered it on the show as well. The committee did not follow suit. The bill they passed included a line that creates a right to a refund for airline passengers with a non-refundable ticket, but requires refunds only upon written or electronic request of the passenger, an explicit rejection of the Biden administration's rule. And that, by the way, that process already exists, and it's so difficult and cumbersome that a lot of people just give up on trying to get their refund. I would know because I experienced it firsthand. Now, before I move on to the positive updates, John, what are your thoughts so far, both on the Department of Transportation's new rule and the Senate committee's efforts to destroy it?
Yeah, I mean, not surprised. This is why they get the donations that they do to be utter tools and to continue to allow industry to F us over in ways that are financially draining and also just like so frustrating and needless, like the difficulty to accomplish little things. Like industries build into the process things that are designed to stop you from being able to exercise choice, making it difficult to cancel things, to get the refunds, but also to cancel services. I mean, everybody here is like tried to, end a gym membership or a cable bill or something. They make it as difficult as possible because they know that some people will just give up or fail to do it. And we should have advocates. Like pushing for these sorts of changes, as you pointed out, you want to give credit where credit is due to like Joe Biden. These sorts of changes are nowhere near the sort of big wide scale challenges to the way the economy is set up that a lot of people want. But at least we should be able to have this. The little things like ending overdraft fees, like little things like this that stop us from being screwed over. But even in this case, where I have to imagine that if you polled people, like 95% of Republicans would say that they're in favor of this, you're always gonna have Ted Cruz because he knows he can do it. And the media infrastructure is not set up in a way that his voters are going to hear about that or prioritize it. Like he probably, we're gonna mock him and we should, but he's probably not gonna suffer, even though he's demonstrating once again that he doesn't represent people, he represents corporations.
Well, I mean, look, he sounded pretty panicky when he was confronted about who he really is and what he tried to do on not on MSNBC, on CNBC. And we're gonna go back to that interview in just a moment. But the other Republicans who tried to destroy this Department of Transportation rule that would get you an automatic refund included Senator Maria Cantwell, Ted Cruz, who we've talked about, Representative Sam Graves, and look, there's two Democrats. Cantwell is a Democrat, and Representative Rick Larsen, another Democrat, basically tried to destroy this effort to get you an automatic refund from the Biden administration. And look, there's money behind this. As we always talk about, you've got to follow the money and understand what the motivating factors are. Because look, Elizabeth Warren, a Democrat, worked with Josh Hawley, a Republican, to ensure that the Department of Transportation's new rule is in the new legislation. And so there are Republicans who realize our voters want the automatic refunds. They don't want to be screwed over by the airline industry. But who knows, maybe Josh Hawley isn't bribed by the airline industry to the same extent that people like Cruz and Cantwell are. For instance, Senator Cantwell, chair of the Senate Commerce Committee, and Senator Ted Cruz, ranking member of the Senate Commerce Committee, are among the top recipients of airline industry campaign donations for the 2024 election cycle. Cantwell has so far received $143,721 from individuals in the airline industry, and Cruz has received $59,375. Both senators are running for re-election this year. A similar dynamic is playing out in the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Representative Graves, for instance, chair of the committee, has received $131,999 from the airline industry this election cycle. Just one election cycle, guys. And Representative Larsen, ranking member of the committee, received $88,255. Now, with that corruption in mind, let's go back to Ted Cruz's appearance, where he totally tried to pretend he did not know about the Department of Transportation's new rule in advance, which is a complete and utter lie. Let's watch.
And Elizabeth Warren claimed, oh my goodness, this is stopping people from getting their refunds. That's a nice little tweet, except it's not actually true. So what the bill says, and by the way, this provision of the bill was written months ago, long before the Biden administration issued this rule. It says you as a consumer have a right to get your refund if they cancel your flight. And what it says is, in order to get your refund, you have to ask for it. Now, Andrew, how many thousands of flights have you flown? Most consumers, if a flight is canceled, don't want an immediate refund. They want to book a new flight. And the rule's saying, no, you got to give the money back automatically, no matter what the customer wants. That's frankly a dumb idea.
Ted Cruz is a giant, useless piece of crap, okay? Like, I love Ted Cruz telling travelers what they want. No, they don't want a refund. No, maybe they do. How about you shut up and let them decide for themselves what they want? And by the way, the reason why airline companies offer you a voucher for a future flight instead of an automatic refund is because oftentimes people don't use those vouchers. They expire and then they become useless, and the airline industry makes money off of you not being able to travel for a flight that you paid for. Ted Cruz is disgusting. And I'm glad that Elizabeth Warren and Josh Hawley introduced that amendment to implement the new Department of Transportation rule. And so that's the kind of bipartisanship I'm in favor of, because it's bipartisanship that actually protects ordinary Americans, ordinary consumers, and I'm here for it. Any final words, Sean?
Yeah, I love that he tried to twist it to, I'm the one who's actually advocating for what people want, making it so that they have to send a letter by post to get their voucher or whatever. I hate it. Again, you're 100% right about why airlines like the vouchers. It's worth, I think in previous coverage of this, you talked about one airline has made like $2 billion off of vouchers that weren't used. There was another that made like $6 billion. It's huge money. But that doesn't even get to the heart of it, I don't think. It's that the vouchers aren't real money a lot of the time. Like it's like I talked on TDR this morning about my experience of using a voucher for like $300, which had a fee of over $100 to use it. And then you had to buy the ticket through them, and their ticket was a jacked up price. So it wasn't any cheaper once I used the voucher. Just give them the money. You didn't give them the flight.
That's
Why
insane.
should they not get the money back?
Wow.
Yeah, I hate it.
I also ended up with a voucher, but I didn't even try to use it because it just, I needed to fly that day. Okay, so anyway, just to give you an example in regard to how much money airline companies make off of vouchers that people never end up using. Hawaiian Airlines, a smaller airline that mostly provides direct flights to Hawaii, made $311.7 million from 2020 to 2023 from passenger tickets that expired unused. Jeez. And that's according to a February filing with the SEC. So yeah, they want to make money off of not providing the service that you paid for. And that's how they've been able to do it with these vouchers. So I'm really happy to see that there was a bipartisan effort to ensure that we get our automatic refunds when we are screwed over. Thank you to Josh Hawley. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true. Josh Hawley and Elizabeth Warren for working together and introducing this amendment.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a Young Turk.